Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, where today I'm going to be playing for the final time with the Ace Beauté Violet Sage palette. I have already decided to declutter this palette. In fact, I'm doing some pre-filming for December, and talking about this palette leaving my collection is a video that's already completed and scheduled. However, my daughter really wanted me to play with a couple specific shades in here before I pass it along, so that's what I'm going to do in today's video. If you are new here, hello, my name is Rachel and I'm a homeschooling stay-at-home mom. I love to play with eyeshadow, colorful eyeshadow especially, and I upload at least 3 videos a week, all eyeshadow related content. So if you like what you see and you would like to see more, please consider subscribing before you leave and hit that notification bell because I've got a lot of good videos coming up. Alright, so let me tell you what she wants to see. She really wanted to see these two colors together. And then she thought that this would be pretty and this shimmer right here. So I'm going to do that in today's video and also tell you why I've decided to declutter this palette. I have already primed my eyes using the Glamlight Icing Primer in the shade White Frosting, and now I'm going to zoom you in and we'll get going. I think I'll do green and purple and then something with the pink matte, probably blend out the other colors and then lay down the pink shimmer. It's going to be really quick and simple. Here's a dense blending brush and I'm grabbing the shade Sage, and I will place this on my inner corner in the crease. This palette was released earlier this year and I liked the color story right away. I thought it was quite pretty. As far as I can tell, and even including the website, this palette will be linked below, but the website says that it's a subscriber exclusive, I think. So it was released as part of like BoxyCharm or Ipsy or whatever. I'm not sure exactly which ones, but it was part of a subscriber release. And as far as I know, you can't buy it on the website. You can only get it through this subscription package. However, because it was part of a subscription package, a lot of people ended up with it when they didn't necessarily want it. So it is all over the secondhand market. And it's quite, I mean, it's usually priced quite affordably. I paid $8 for this one. And I really liked the color story. I liked the green and pink and purple. I liked how it went pretty light. You know, this right here is quite a light toned green. And then it's got a really light toned pink. And then it's got several deepening out shades. My only complaint with this palette's color story is that there are 2 light toned pink shimmers. They're almost indistinguishable from one another. And I don't really understand why they bothered to put in 2 pink shimmers. I mean, with a 3-colored color story, why did we put 2 pink shimmers instead of throwing in a green shimmer or a purple shimmer? That green did lay down very nicely. I'm taking another blending brush. This one's a little bit looser and a little bit bigger, and I'm going to take the shade Violet, which is the lightest of the purple mattes. It's still a mid-tone purple matte. Anyway, so as far as the color story goes, that's what I was thinking. But when I actually got the palette and used it, I wasn't terribly impressed. This is Ace Beauté's new formula, and I have heard such great things about their new formula. I actually have 2 palettes in their old formula. I own Flare and Oceanic, and I understand why they reformulated. Like, the old formula is not the best, but I have also owned this one and the Paradise Fallen palette, which is their like the really cool toned purple color story. I've owned both of those in the new formula, and I don't really see a huge difference. Now, maybe it's personal preference, maybe it's how I'm using the shadows, maybe I got a dud, I don't know. But for some reason, I have just not been terribly impressed with those 2 palettes, this one and the Paradise Fallen, which I have since decluttered. I used this one in an Instagram reel, and I've used it in one other YouTube video, which I can card above for you. And now I'm using it for the last time here because I decided it just wasn't holding any excitement. I didn't look forward to playing with it again. In fact, I almost didn't film today's video at all because I was just so unexcited about using the palette again. And I find that that is very important. You know, you might come across a great palette, but if it doesn't excite you, it's probably not worth keeping, because I want to be excited by my colors. I want to be excited by my eye looks, and I want to be excited by the palettes that make the eye looks, because when I open a palette, I want to get all ideas. I want to be inspired. So if I have a palette that I think about with like, oh, you know, just kind of deflated about it, that's not a palette I need to keep, especially because I try to keep my collection curated to the point where I'm not overwhelmed by its size, to the point where I use everything I have. And this palette has been sitting in my collection for long enough without being used and without me being excited about it. It's just time to pass it on. I don't know. I've used the purple side of this, I've used the burgundy side of this, I've used the green side, I've used every color in the palette at this point, and I'm still completely unenthused by it. Now, this is just personal preference. You might love this palette, or you might get the palette because you like the color story and you like the new formulation and you think, hey, why don't I try it out? Because again, I paid $8 for this. It's not a huge loss for me because I did get use out of it and I did experiment and I did, you know, make some okay looks with it. This purple is kind of blending out into nothing, isn't it? Let's see if I can get some more pigment in there. I'm trying not to use colors that my daughter didn't request. I'm trying only to use the ones that she specifically wanted. Anyway, you may love this palette, and that is great. Just not for me, you know? So I have decided to declutter it, but I did want to get this video done, or even just this look done. I decided on the fly to turn it into a video, but I wanted to get this look done because my daughter really wanted to see these colors together. I thought that I would use the light pink to blend out this purple, but it blends out so easily by itself, I don't need a transition color. So I'll probably put the pink on the lower lash line. I'm going to take my finger out of simple curiosity and take the shade Anemone. I want to see how this applies with my finger because I've applied it with a brush, wet and dry, and again, haven't been very impressed. I'm just curious to see how it'll apply with my finger. So I'm going to place this on the lid space from the inner corner. Again, it's not bad. It is pretty. I think that the shadows themselves could have a little more pigment. I plan on giving this palette to a friend of mine, and when I compare our eyeshadow preferences, first off, she has different undertones in her skin, and that makes a very big difference in how a person may look in a palette or even how they may personally enjoy it. Undertones matter. So she's got different undertones, and she also has a slightly more neutral leaning or light toned leaning eyeshadow style and aesthetic. I would tend to go for much brighter, bolder colors and heavier looks, and she goes a little bit on the lighter, softer side of things. So this palette might be amazing for her. She may love it because those are the kinds of looks that I've been getting from it. So again, it's not that I don't recommend the palette, it's just not the best fit for me personally. I think the shimmer applied pretty well with my finger. I don't think it applies any better using a brush. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm going to take a small blending brush and grab the shade Begonia. This is the lightest pink matte. Actually, it's the only pink matte. And I'm going to lay this on my entire lower lash line, starting in the inner corner, meeting up with that pink shimmer because they just want to be together, and then carrying it all the way to the outer corner. Again, this is super light toned. I mean, you can barely see it on my eye. Also, it's got a lot of kick up. A lot of powder. Okay, I literally cannot see that pink color at all. I've placed it on my entire lower lash line and the inner corner, and the only thing it did was blend out whatever color or discoloration was already there into nothing. Like, you cannot see that color at all on my skin. It is a complete wash on my skin. There's nothing I can do about that. So I'm going to take a flat brush and dip into the shade Violet, the purple again, put this on my outer corner. I considered bringing the green onto my lower lash line to just put something there because you can't see the pink at all. But I think I'm going to leave it as it is. Maybe I'll try a different, more dense brush into the pink and see if I can, I don't know, spray it or something, see if I can place it down a bit better. It's just, there's so little pigment. I think that Karen Harris reviewed this palette, and she said that, especially on her darker, more olive tanned skin, she said that there's just no pigment, and I have to agree with her. I'm not impressed by this. And I have heard that Ace Beauté's formula has been different for this palette, even since their reformulation. I don't know and understand the behind the scenes when it comes to launching a new product. Maybe they're using a different manufacturer. Maybe it was released in a hurry so it could be put out in a specific month subscription box. I don't know why brands' formulas vary so much, like ColourPop. Sometimes you get amazing ColourPop quality, and then other times it's like just, okay, you know, unimpressive. I don't understand why that is, particularly ColourPop, because I know they're doing everything in-house. Maybe Ace Beauté has 2 different factories, and they had to use one to get a release out by a specific date. I'm not sure. I have heard people say that this is not as good as their new formula, and I believe that because I can't imagine the new formula being so hyped across the board and it being one of the favorite formulas of Angelica Nyqvist, who I know she has high standards and a ton of experience with eyeshadow. I can't imagine that this is her favorite formula because I've tried other brands that are also favorite formulas of hers, like Udenzai, and this does not compare to Udenzai. So I'm not sure. My guess would be that this is not their best formula. And I would have to agree with Karen Harris. I don't see much pigment, honestly. Yet again, I'm going back into the violet pan and trying to darken this outer corner. I feel like the pigment has just sort of disappeared. Even after I didn't touch it anymore, I feel like it's vanished a little bit. So deepening the outer corner again, then taking whatever's on the brush and slowly working it into the green and working it into the pink shimmer. But this is basically the look. It's pretty. I think the colors are pretty together. I like that my daughter chose the green and the purple because I think that's a fun combination. It's okay. I'm gonna go off camera and finish it all up, and then I'll be back to show you guys how it looks with both eyes done. Okay guys, here is how the look turned out at the end. In my waterline, I used the shade Boots from ColourPop's Creme Gel Liners because I wanted to bring in some pink. And I then lined the top lashes with black, and that's it. I didn't do a wing. I did want to make a few notes. I added a little bit of eye primer to my lower lash line to see if I could create a tackier base for the light pink matte to stick to. And it made a tiny, tiny, tiny difference. Like, now I can see that it's not naked there, basically, but it's still so close to my skin tone and also such a lightly pigmented shadow. It's almost as if it weren't there. It would be a great color for blending out a darker shade because it just disappears into nothing. Also, I took the NYX glitter glue and I put that on top of the shimmer, and then I applied more shimmer to see if I could get more pigment. Again, a sticky, tacky base, more shine. Again, it made a very, very small difference. It brought in a little bit more shine, so it looks more of a shimmer, but it made very little difference. And I found that, I mean, it's been 10 minutes since I put these eyeshadows on, and I think that they're already disappearing. It's like my eyes are eating them. I don't know what this is all about. I feel like I need to go into another palette, like a Beauty Bay palette, and bring in something with crazy good color payoff just to make these colors last the entire day. My family and I are going to a concert tonight, like a holiday concert, and I don't think that this eye look is, I think it's just going to be a little light wash of pastel by the end of the day. I don't know. Anyway, I also added some blush, the Dolce Pink from Milani, just blush and then highlighter. I used the Frose palette from BH Cosmetics. I don't have anything else on except on my lips, where I'm wearing the NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Eclair. That's everything. I do think the eye look is very pretty. I think the colors are lovely and soft and sort of romantic and fun together. I think the look is very pretty. I'm just not at all impressed with the shadows. I cannot imagine that this is Ace Beauté's newest best formula, that this is the best that they're offering right now, because I think that if it were, they would not be being raved about as they are by some people who have a lot of experience with eyeshadows and even using Ace Beauté's old formula and comparing it to the new. I think that there must have been a disparity in quality between what Ace Beauté's newest formulation is, which looks amazing, and what they put into this palette. I don't get it, but that's my honest assessment. I'm not saying that it's not going to be a good fit for somebody. I'll bet someone out there loves this palette, and I hope that the person I'm giving it to likes this palette too. I hope it's a wonderful fit for her. It's just not the best fit for me and my tastes. Anyway, there you go. That is my final video using the Violet Sage palette from Ace Beauté. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you maybe got some ideas. You know, if you have a shimmer that's not great, try glitter glue. I don't know, whatever. Remember to like and subscribe before you leave and hit the notification bell. I've got lots of videos coming in December, and then I have new videos already being filmed for January. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for being here. See you next time. Bye.